I'm going to show off my Blu-rays. Bad Manners. Directed by Bobby Houston. This is Doll Man from Full Moon Entertainment. The Gate came out on Vestron Blu-ray, and so they had a whole slipcover for that, but then Walmart made this exclusive cover, which is kind of cheap looking, but I kind of love it, from the director of Grabbers, which was an Irish horror film about slithery things that would kill you if you weren't drunk, so you needed to get drunk. And this one is about evil little gnomes that will come and kill you if you don't leave a blood sacrifice for them, and I liked it a lot. This is a trailer compilation that I use a lot. I've used it at least 50 times because sometimes I'm too lazy to make my own trailer compilation, and so I use this, and it has 80 plus trailers on it, and they're all gold. Road Games, which I think I caught on YouTube years ago, and I thought it was fantastic, and then finally I heard that Umbrella was putting it out, and so I had to buy it immediately. Body Girls and Let's Get Physical. Slash Dance. Here is the movie on the inside. This is not a very fun movie. There's also Hollywood's New Blood, which I forgot was also on here, and I have never watched that, but maybe that one's better than Slash Dance. Girlfriend from Hell, from Culture Shock releasing. It is fantastic. This cover is just amazing. This is the original poster art right here. I don't think they could have asked for a better slipcover. It's just so cool. Like, the original slip has the original poster in there, but this is just, it's awesome. Joe Spinell, you can kind of see him. I have Rancho Deluxe. This also has Joe Spinell in it, but in a much smaller role. Here is the flip cover poster. I don't really like this art. This is a movie that I really should watch, because I bought it like a year, maybe 2 years ago. This is Mahakal. This is The Bad Pack. Kind of a Expendables movie, but all of the leads are people you just kind of know. Great Halloween movie. Hack O-Lantern. American Rampage. Whoops. American Rampage and Danger USA. Two very cheap and very cheesy action films, which I don't know if I've watched both of them yet. This is Violence in a Women's Prison from Severin, with a very thin slipcover, but I still love it. This is Siege, Sergio Stivaletti's Wax Mask. This is a Severin Kids release, so this is My Grandpa is a Vampire, also known as, I think, Dark Moon or something, and also known as Grampire. This is a very kind of boring but fun werewolf movie where there is a gimmick to the movie, where there is a scare clock, I think is what it's called, or a were clock, I don't know, and it counts down to when the next scare is going to happen, also known as Pod People for the Mystery Science Theater set. This is Extraterrestrial Visitors, The Second Coming, Night of the Demon. So it's another Bigfoot kills movie, which you gotta love those. Up next we have Peter Cushing again in the anthology film The Uncanny. This is Hey Stop Stabbing Me. This is Kung Fu Trailers of Fury. So there's about 120 minutes of trailers, so a regular movie's length of trailers. Debbie Does Dallas 2. This is Let My Puppets Come, which is a adult film in the vein of The Muppets. The Pink Ladies, which I'm pretty sure I can show that. This is The Naughty Victorians, which is a very messed up but satisfying adult film. This one is Tammy and the T-Rex, also known as Tanny and the T-Rex. And this is the version from Vinegar Syndrome, the rated R cut. Rad. Another lenticular cover. And this is I just saw it recently at Celebration Cinema North, because Riff Tracks did their version of Rad. Next I have Old Dracula. This is a very silly version of Dracula starring David Niven, Dario Argento's Trauma. And then Shriek of the Mutilated, I've shown that off recently, another Yeti Bigfoot killer movie. This is a movie that I've shown at movie nights before. This is Tom DeSimone's Reform School Girls, which was an 80s revival of kind of like delinquent schoolgirls, getting reformed. Dolly Dearest. Oh, it doesn't even have a tagline. Oh, here we go. A doll with a bad attitude. I don't know what I expected, but it's the birds too. It's more birds. I love it. I'll love it until I die. Voyage of the Rock Aliens. Whoa. There's the inside. Body Melt, one of my first Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray purchases. This is an Australian science fiction body horror film, which, warning, the following feature may be hazardous to your health. Common reactions are hallucinations, glandular issues, and or your face melting off. Unmasking the Idol. It's basically a James Bond movie with a guy and a monkey. It's a bad tough guy action movie. I want it to be so much better, but it's not. Fantastic horror supernatural movie. This was back when they actually put words on their slipcovers, because this actually has the description and everything on it. So we have Slaughterhouse Rock on this disc, but we also have Hard Rock Zombies. You would think this would be the one that you're coming for, because look at that cover. It's going to be amazing. It has music by Devo in it. You think, I'm never going to forget this movie. I forgot it the moment it was over. This is not a good movie. This, on the other hand, fun, interesting, very, very, very low budget. Tiny Tim in Blood Harvest. The Marvelous Mervo. And then on the back, it's just him upside down. I think they were smart in doing that, because, like, he's freaky enough in this movie, and he's not even the antagonist. Hell Comes to Frogtown release. Just that you lift up the cover like that, and the movie is inside. Right there. It's very cool, and this movie deserved something like that, even though it's cheesy and bad, but it's bad in all the best ways. Righting Wrongs with Cynthia Rothrock and Yun Biao, and I showed it at a movie night. Fantastic. It has 3 cuts of the film, huge booklet. I'm very happy that I own this, even though it's just one film in this hefty package. Another Cynthia Rothrock kind of franchise here, because it's 3 movies in one. This is Tiger Claws 1, 2, and 3. It's a movie that starts off pretty straightforward and then gets straight up weird and supernatural and crazy by the end. This is Death Feud. I've watched it a couple times, and my opinion has gotten brighter of it, but the first time I saw it, I was like, wow, what a waste of human effort. But now I kind of love it. Death Machines. Very campy and silly, and this cover is just amazing. It's just, the trailer, if you ever look the trailer up, it has this giant, ridiculous machine. But the movie does not. Speaking of machines of death, here is The Hearse, which you might not even be able to see, because this is very dark. But this is one of I think it's maybe my first purchase from Vinegar Syndrome. Hellbent. Yeah, I think I've seen it maybe 2 to 3 times, and I can't think of anything that I clung to in this movie. The Cold of the Night, which I guess a lot of people like this movie. I found it just kind of like a 80s Brian De Palma kind of ripoff. And he was already ripping off Hitchcock. Don't Panic. He's wearing this pajama set, which I bought from Vinegar Syndrome, and I now wear it myself. It's a Spanish horror film, kind of Nightmare on Elm Street vibe. Spookies. Great campy horror film. One of the best campiest horror films of all time. Incredible special effects. Punk Vacation. Splatter University. Dubbies. Not the Deadly Bees or the Killer Bees. This is just the Bees. It's got John Saxon. Horror spoof. There's nothing out there. It's got like a killer frog in it. The Human Tornado, Rudy Ray Moore. I know I have the Blu-ray for Disco Godfather, but I don't know where it is. Hobgoblins. A fantastically bad horror movie, Gremlins ripoff. My best friend is a vampire. The Dentist, all of the Dentist movies, which 3? No, 1 and 2. So both have Corbin Burnson, both have a killer dentist that kills the crap out of people. This is the Silent Night, Deadly Night collection from Bestron. This is 3, 4, and 5, which is great because I already have 1 and 2. I didn't like this one at first. I have it on video too, but I have grown to like it. Because it's Patrick Swayze. I think I liked it a lot more once I saw it on Blu-ray. Sometimes quality matters. The quality of the picture and everything. Because when I watched it the first time, I was like, I cannot wait to turn this off. But when I watched it this time, I was like, man, I can really see Patrick Swayze's hair a lot better. A few years ago, Walmart was doing this promotion where they were putting out Blu-rays to look like VHS, because they were like throwback movies, I guess the most of them were, and so they made slipcovers to make it look like it was a VHS slipping out of the cover, and then inside it's just the regular movie. But I bought a lot of these because I love tapes, obviously, and I just, whatever gimmick you can throw at me, I will buy it. I'm so easy. So, 310 to Yuma, Hard Bodies, Happy Birthday to Me, The New Kids, First Blood, Rambo Part 1, Terminator 2, Highlander, Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers. But, here's the kicker, on the inside, because they were trying to give these things away, it's the producer's cut of Halloween 6, which, I'm sorry, but it sucks. From what I've watched and read, this is not a good movie. On the other hand, Brain Damage is one of the best of Henning Lauder's movies. And it's just brilliant, and it's freaky, and it's kind of sexy, and makes you feel like you need to take a shower afterwards. The Sister Street Fighter collection. This is The Hills Have Eyes, one of my favorite movies of all time. It's up there in the top 5, deep red, so I had to have this set, which includes a book and the Blu-ray. FM. This is it's a musical comedy. It's about a radio station that's about to be taken over or shut down or something. I don't really remember. Burst City, which is a punk post-apocalyptic movie from Japan. Massacre Gun. I should have not flipped it to the side where I can't read the cover of it. But this is Massacre Gun. Return of the Killer Tomatoes on Arrow. Still have never watched this one. Then we have She-Devils on Wheels, which is from Herschel Gordon Lewis. Next, we have a future movie night at some point, Versus. This is definitely in the top 5. I may have said more than 5 movies that are in the top 5, but Switchblade Sisters have shown it multiple times at movie nights. I get a kick every time I watch this with somebody else. It makes me so happy. I love it. Dario Argento's Cat of Nine Tails, and it still shocks me as much as it did as the first time I watched a clip of it on Dario Argento's World of Horror. The Mutilator. Ooh. By sword, by pick, by axe, bye-bye. Doom Asylum, which was not as fun, but it was okay. Tobe Hooper's Eaten Alive, which you can very much tell was shot on a soundstage, but has our great friend Robert Englund as one of the stars, and he says, "My name's Buck, and I like to fuck." The portraits of Andrea Palmer, it is a very realistic movie of a woman kind of drawn into the adult film industry and just gets brutal. This is Hard Gore, which is a horror porno film that really doesn't go anywhere, and the print of it just looks really bad. Scenes from a Class Struggle in Beverly Hills by Paul Bartel. Fantastic movie. I love it. Class Reunion. National Lampoon's Class Reunion. Garbage Pail Kids. The movie. The slipcover. The Delivery Boys. Absolutely in the top 5. Mr. Majestic. Charles Bronson. I still haven't watched this. This is also from Scorpion. To All a Good Night. Directed by David Hess, who was one of the evil fuckers in Last House on the Left. In the top 5, 100%. This is Tough Turf, an early James Spader movie with Kim Richards, the aunt of Paris Hilton, Tales from the Crypt, and Vault of Horror. This is Strays, not the new Will Ferrell movie about a dog that swears. This one is about cat that kills. Cats that kill. Funhouse. So good. Toby Hooper, top of his game. Excellent. Beautiful. Scary. Ghost House and The Witchery. Ghost House, just fantastic. Italian horror movie ripping off Poltergeist. And then The Witchery, don't really remember, but I know David Hasselhoff and Linda Blair are in it. The Borrower, from John McNaughton, the guy who directed Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer. Night of the Comet. Night of the Demons. Kevin Tenney. This is Kevin Tenney's masterpiece. Escape from New York. John Carpenter. One of the greatest action movies ever made. Definitely in my top 5. We have Bones from Shout Factory. This is from Ernest Dickerson. Speaking of Kevin Tenney, we have Witchboard, the other great masterpiece from Kevin Tenney. Comedy, action, bad. John Stamos, Uncle Jesse, is a teenager who his dad's a super spy, and so he decides to also be a super spy because he's got to save the world from Gene Simmons. Willard with Crispin Glover. I love the original. I love this remake. I even love Ben, which was the sequel to the original. And Crispin Glover sings the song Ben, which Michael Jackson had wrote and sung for the movie Ben for whatever reason. 7% Solution. Vampire lovers have not watched it yet. Phantom of the Opera with Robert Englund. Candyman. Classic. Will never not be terrifying. Sonny Boy. Very weird avant-garde horror movie with David Carradine, Jeremy Brett as Sherlock Holmes. This is one of the first collections that came out on Blu-ray, and it has about 10-12 episodes. He, in my opinion, was the best Sherlock Holmes. Human Highway, which stars the band Devo, which is one of my favorite bands, and it's directed by Neil Young. Castle in the Sky, a Ghibli movie. This is effects, starring Tom Savini and Joe Pilato and a lot of people from the Dead movies, Dawn of the Dead, Night of the Living Dead, all those movies. This is Treasure of the Ninja and the films of William Lee. So this is a lot of really low budget 8mm, 16mm films starring this guy, William Lee. The Shadow. I loved this movie when I was a kid. Shark Night. I have not opened this movie. Another Stakeout. Fifth Element. I was in love with it when I was a kid, so I have to own it. Leprechaun 1 through the remake. Johnny Mnemonic in black and white. I highly recommend this, even though Johnny Mnemonic in color is kind of better. Night Beast, Don Dohler, creature feature. Showed it at a movie night. Easy crowd pleaser. Street Kings 2 with Ray Liotta. The Transporter with, Jason Statham. Piranha Double D. George Romero's Survival of the Dead, I think his last of the Dead movie. Dead in Tombstone and Dead Again in Tombstone. I'll watch those someday. The Grand Tour, which I have not completely watched all the way through yet. Ghosts of Mars. Smokey and the Bandit Collection. Hidden, I just watched this like a week ago. Under Siege 2, one of not very many Seagal movies that I own. This one is hilarious. Nightmare on Elm Street 2 and 3. 3 being my favorite of the sequels. And Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. Showed it at a movie night. Great low-budget, silly horror. Ski Patrol. These are all from MVD Entertainment. Silly 80s, not a sex romp, but a silly, goofy ski romp. Still have not watched Evil Dead Trap, but I've heard a heck of a lot about it. Evil Tunes, which doesn't really have a release company. Retro Media, I guess, put this out. Sorceress. Basket Case 2 from Frank Henenlotter. Hot Dog, the movie. Unrated Producer's Cut. Lightning Bolt and the Resurrection of Zachary Wheeler. They Call Me Bruce. This is a fantastic comedy starring Johnny Yoon, who was a comedian, well-known comedian back in the day. And the whole premise of this movie is that people mistake him for Bruce Lee. Monstrosity. Savage Streets. Another fantastic favorite. Jungle Holocaust. I don't really like cannibal movies, but I got this one, and it's okay. This is maybe number 1 in my top 5. I'm not sure, but this movie affected me more than anything else. This is Pink Flamingos by John Waters. I love it. This is Michelangelo Antonioni's Blow Up, which inspired so many filmmakers and films, including Brian De Palma's Blow Out. Hausu! This is Shaft, because, of course, Shaft. It's up here on the wall, too. Polyester, which came with its very own Odorama card, which you can still... Hidden Fortress, Akira Kurosawa, One False Move. The very first of the IRS films, International Record Syndicate films. This is the very first of that collection of films that has made it to the Criterion Collection. That concludes my Blu-ray collection. I hope this was entertaining, enthralling. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.